Great job again this week. All right, so this is going to be a pancake of lessons. So last week we did the C. Let's make sure we're in tune together. All right, last week we did the C with the rhythm. The rhythm was just a quarter, quarter, quarter note, and then basically you're taking two quarters, but you're putting them together, making them eighth notes. So down, up becomes a one and, rather than just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and, down, up, 1, over and over again. So we've got C, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and all through the fingers. Excuse me. And then we did G. G started with the first finger. The C was the easy one because it's on 3rd fret. The G started with the first finger on the 2nd fret, putting our first finger at the D, 2nd finger to make the bookends for the B, and then our 3rd finger down on the G, okay? What we were doing was taking the first finger off, putting our 2nd finger where the first finger was, putting our 3rd finger where the 2nd finger was, and then thusly putting our pinky on the fretboard onto the 3rd fret to play that G where the 2nd finger was, which is now where the first finger was. So, by being able to play a G two different ways, the purpose is you can now move this up to a G sharp or an A flat, and then put your finger down with that one string that was missing. What that does is it allows you to go up the fretboard. So when you hit any note on here, it makes a frequency. When you shorten that by going up the fretboard, it just makes that frequency faster. When you play chords together, like a C sharp, D, all the way up, that's the same chordal structure where you have a bar and then your note. Your bar just happens to be the nut here and then the C. So when you move up this C sharp, these also have to come up to the 1st fret, so on and so forth. That was the explanation from last week, combined with a little bit of rhythm there. Great job, and great job this week too. What we're going to be doing is adding on 3 more chords. We might or might not have covered all these chords, but these are what you're going to want to bring to the table next week, okay? So, it's called the cage system. You already know the C, and you already know the G, the cage system. So now we need to do the A, the D, and the E. The E is the harder of the sum, but once you get the D, you'll understand the E. So, as we talked about, there are chords that you put down flat, and there are chords that you put down a pointy finger. This D is going to be one of the flat ones, but the caveat is, you need to put down your finger on the 2nd fret and cover just these 3 strings. So you'd be covering the A note, and you could get to the A note by saying, I know this is my high G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's no H, no J, no I. Just keeps going over and over again. In between each one of those, you've got a sharp or a flat, depending on what we're talking about. And I know this did not make sense, but I would not say things twice when talking. So musically, I wouldn't say C, D, E, F, G, A, C flat, C. It seems silly. Okay, so with this, what we're going to be doing is taking our finger and putting it flat down. So you could use your first finger and put it flat down, your 2nd finger and your 3rd finger. There's no point to do the pinky. The only thing it would do is make muscle memory. And it's improper to use the pinky to do flat bars unless you're doing far reaches. We're not even there yet. So on the 2nd fret with the first finger, you're going to want to cover the top 3. So you're going to cover your high G to make it an A. You're going to cover your C string to make it a C sharp, D. And then you're going to cover your 3rd string to make it an E, F, F sharp. So you've got an F sharp, a D, and an A. The caveat, like I was saying, is you need to be able to place it. And you see how my finger is kind of like doing a curve? It's not completely down. It's doing that. That allows me to let this A ring. That's the point and purpose of the D. When you play it with your first finger, you have the option of using your pinky to go up here to hit the octave D. D, D, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. What I'm doing is playing a major scale, and this is what we're going to be moving into next week. We're going to be taking this in any key and using this basic pattern to find the tone, which this is an E, so a tone, and then a whole step away from that, which is a tone, and then a whole step away from that, which is a tone, and then a half tone on your 4th step. 4 to 5 is a full tone. 5 to 6 is a full tone. 6 to 7 is a whole tone. And then 7 to 8, or 8 to 1, or 7 to 1, the resolution, that also is a half step. For a major, it's a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Those are the intervals for an Ionian mode, a major scale. So when we play your C, you could play a, or when we play a G, you could play within the major scale, and those become melodies, and that's where the fun of this comes into, being able to make your own tunes. So, with the D today, we're going to be using that rhythm. You're going to be doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Remember to go down with the nails on the front of the fingers, and then when you're coming up, use the back of the fingernail on the thumb. Don't have a huge gate, and kind of keep it within here. Just think like right in the pocket, okay? This finger here has to come up so you could have that A ring clear. Now, here's where the E and the D and all these make sense to go up and down the fretboard. When you use your fourth finger or your second finger or your third finger, you're developing muscle memory. Make sure when you're playing your rhythms and doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and here comes the switch, that you keep that A open each time, because if you close it, it makes it a whole different chord. It makes it a B minor 7, okay? And I'll explain that later. So with the D, if you move it up, it becomes a D sharp. And in between D and E is that D sharp. But you can call it an E flat as well, because the next one up is an E. So here's the caveat. When you played the D, your A was open. When you play a D sharp or a E flat, you need to cover the first fret, which would mean when you move it up to an E and you have just the B note covered on the 4th fret, you've got the E note covered on the 4th fret, and then on the 4th fret as well, you've got a I'm blanking out. A flat or G sharp. Okay? Because that's where your G is, remember? And if you move that G note up, it's a G sharp or an A flat. So with this, those 3 covered, you have the same structure you had for the D, except for now it's the E. All right? Right here is the note you want to put in. Now, I understand that this chord is weird because you have to have this kind of flat bar with your finger up to leave room for this note to ring clear. It's a hard one to get, but once you got that idea, you don't necessarily always have to play that note there. You could go up here and play the octave like I showed you with the D, where you bar all 3 of these, like the chord chart says, and then you just put the octave D up here to make D major, D sharp major, E flat, E major, which relates back to those scales I was just talking about. So those are 2 chords new in addition that you can work on this week with the rhythm, doing down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, down. You could do that back and forth and just get comfortable with letting the A ring out, and then when you move it up, making the B ring out. All right? And then the last chord here we did touch upon, and it pushes us into no majors and minors. And I know last session we talked about the F minor, F major, F minor, same concept. And I know you already know the F, so this is great because you're going to know more than just the 5 standard chords for the cage system. All right? So the A is the last chord in here. What we're doing is we're going to make it build almost like the F major. And I'm going to keep this video under 10 minutes, I swear. If you need to speed up or slow down anything, you can go up to the top here and slow it down. I know I have a tendency to talk too fast sometimes. Anywho, what we're going to do is we're going to take our first finger and go to the 1st fret, okay? And then we're going to put it on the C string, which would make it a C sharp, because anytime you go up, it becomes sharp. Anytime you go down, it becomes flat. So C, and then 1st fret on the C string makes a C sharp, all right? That's going to be the 3rd scale degree in an A major chord. The reason why is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. It is the 3rd interval. Do, re, mi. Okay? So C sharp is the 3rd. A is right here. You also played an A in your F. Okay? Because the A in the F, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, A is the third in F. So it's very like dropping that to the minor, having to go down a half step. So with the A major, to get an A minor, you must remove that finger from the C sharp to make it a C. Because whenever you want to make a major scale a minor scale, you can flatten the third scale degree to make it a minor triad rather than a major triad. Do, re, mi. Major triad. Do, re, mi. Not major triad. That was a major movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. When we've got a major triad in the key of C, we'd have C, we'd skip D, we go to E, we'd skip F and go to G. So we've got C, E, and F. All right? No, C, E, and G. If I wanted to make that a minor chord, I would make that third scale degree, the E, flat by a half step. So what we're doing with the A is our fingers are on the first fret on the C sharp, our second finger is on the second fret on the A note, which is on the high G string. Sounds like that. And we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then our second inversion of the A major. And then take off the third and go to the minor. Hear the difference? And then down to that second finger, and we're going to go back to major right here. How fun. So this is an A major. This is an A minor. We're going to go over to the C. This is your C major. This is your C minor. If you look on your chart, it shows you the B minor, which is the exact same fingering for the C minor, just a half step down, because B goes to C. There is no like in between in the C major. There is no in between sharp or fat in between E and F and B and C. We just have to know that. Okay, so quick review, and this wasn't under 10 minutes. I'm so sorry about that. But there's a lot of information, and you're doing great. So, quick review. You know the C major. You can play it in all these different fingerings. And because you know playing with your third finger makes it easier to go to the F because you're already lined up, the same thing happens with the D major. The D major and then the E major. There are two other ways to play E major, and I can show you two of those later, but I want you to get this because that bar chord, leaving the finger open to let that top string ring or be played, is very important at this point. Anywho, I'm going to give you the rhythm at the end, which was reggae, which you could put any number of these chords together. Since you know the D and the E, why not do the reggae beat with those? So we're going to start with the D and then play the E right after it. What's going to happen is we're going to do a palm mute and a downstroke. We're going to go very slow, like this. 2, 3, 4. Now this way I'm playing it, I'm keeping the rhythm with it, and I'm playing E, E, D, and I'm making sure that I'm playing it with my finger there so I can keep that A ringing. And when I move it up, I need to make sure that my first finger is playing the B, just like I was keeping the A ringing. This next time session, I'm going to put the high note up instead of going down. See how I put my pinky 4 frets away? And once you have the single, try the double. He uses those eighth notes as we were talking about from our 4/4 exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Great job this week. I'll see you next week.